The Dating Show, brought to you by olderdatingonline.com.
Debbie, if I can just start off by asking you, what do you like most about a man?
Do you know, the biggest thing with the biggest impact is his smile.
Really?
Yeah, a really nice smile that crinkles his eyes and looks genuine is a lovely...
And that's a really attractive thing.
Yes.
What's the sort of thing that you find least attractive?
Probably a kind of a certain arrogance, the way that he might treat other people if he's not courteous and not kind. I think that would turn me off.
So I tick all the boxes then?
Absolutely, Rod. You're the guy.
OK, so we heard before from Manj Weerasekera, who's a dating expert. That's how you say his name, isn't it?
I think it's Weerasekera.
OK, well, he's a top guy anyway.
He is.
So let's hear from him again. We heard from him a few weeks ago. He's got some more advice for us all.
The Dating Show, brought to you by olderdatingonline.com.
Can I just ask you about behaviours that turn off women? So what's your findings on that?
For behaviours that turn off women, this is the classic one, and it comes up time and time and time again, which is men turning up for a date and spending most of the time on that date complaining about their ex-wife or ex-girlfriend. And they seem to think that that's an attractive quality. So for the guys listening, stop that.
Stop that now.
You know, it's going to tell your potential new partner more about you than it does about your exes.
So is it better to be more positive about everything rather than be negative?
My advice on that specific area about your exes is not to bring it up at all, and especially on a first date. And yes, if you can generally look for more of the positive qualities of people you've either been married to or dated before, or some of the good times, it will only do you good as well, because it helps with the whole area of you've had successful relationships. We tend to forget, as human beings, positives and focus more on the negatives. It's just how we are wired. And that's not always beneficial.
And other behaviours like definitely don't pick your nose, maybe.
Don't pick your
nose.
Oh, my goodness. No, you see, you've got certain things which are... I'm going to assume that men would have general good manners. You know, I'm going to assume that because, yes, certainly, and even the little micro things you do, we think if we even just scratch our nose, it's a subtle thing, but it's almost like amplified 10 times. Why? Because on the first date especially, or the first few dates, your potential partner is watching you quite attentively because it's someone they've met for the first time and they're noticing things about you. It's same goes for the other way around with women as well. You know, the other thing that I found that with the feedback I've had from women in terms of behaviors that not quite turn them off, but they don't see them in good light, is a man trying too hard to please a woman. I mean, very eager to please. Like, it can go the other way, and that can often come across as being too needy, in fact, would you believe?
Yes.
You know, and then the other area is when a man, if you go the opposite way, is bragging a bit too much. I mean, even with my ex-wife, she was telling me with some of the guys she dated after we had split up, she was saying that some of the guys who come across as just too overconfident to the point where, you know, they would just brag about how successful they were. And I have several women who've told me that's not exactly an attractive quality either. So it's to try and find that middle ground, that middle place where you don't have to try too hard either way, just to be yourself with a little bit of common sense. And the only thing is, guys, I've found that common sense isn't very common.
I think you're right, actually. You've kind of answered this, actually. But apart from the ones you've mentioned then, are there classic mistakes that divorced men make when they're dating?
This is the other thing. often with divorced men, they look to jump back in a bit too quickly. It's funny because the studies have shown that divorced women may take a little bit too long, and divorced men just jump straight back in. You know, I had a client who literally, after he and his wife decided to get divorced, just decided, 48 hours later he was on a dating site. So I don't know, it's just that men are definitely, and we know this, men are wired differently than women neurologically. So we seem to have different needs. And I think that's a genetic thing as well that's been handed over millennia. So that's definitely one thing. They do jump in a little bit too quick. Then if you go to the other side of the spectrum, they will jump in a bit too quick. However, they might not necessarily be looking to commit. And they could be dating 3 or 4 women at the same time. And this is the thing. Because women are wired differently to men, and Debbie, you might be able to confirm this, women seem to pick up signals that men can't. They seem to pick up signals when a man's not really looking to commit, or a man's actually dating more than one woman at the same time.
Yeah.
And we're oblivious to that because we don't think that way.
Is that right? So men wouldn't notice. They'd just think this is how I want it to be. Maybe.
Yeah, we're very simple in our thinking. We seem to think we think more laterally. And women have a lot more of both their right brain and left brain firing at the same time than men do. We're very one thing after another. And this is very generally speaking.
Yeah, of
just
course.
the way I believe we've come down through the years genetically.
And is it that men need more kind of affirmation that they're okay after a divorce? And so maybe it's likely that they'd like that from a wider base than just one person, that affirmation?
Not necessarily. I think it can go the other way sometimes. Men might think, actually, they don't need any work to be done on themselves, so to speak. I found that women are more embracing of making some changes, looking for support, getting help. Men tend to think they don't need any help, and even if they do, they don't like to ask for it. Men tend not to have a good support structure around them as women do. Women have, they make very good networks of friends that they can get support from. Men tend not to do that. You know, it'll be just a quick chat and a drink, maybe down the pub.
There you go, Manj Weerasekera, the Fresh Start guy. I mean, he's brilliant, isn't he, with what he says. And I think generally, I mean, when he's talking about being needy, there's nothing worse than people who are too needy.
No, Rod.
You're quite needy.
I was going to ask you about your support structure.
My what?
Do you have a good support structure, Rod?
Yeah, I'm wearing it as we speak.
Oh, I wondered what that was.
Can I just criticise you a little bit on your questions?
Yes, please.
When you said picking your nose, I mean, this guy is dealing with decent, sensible stuff.
Yes.
Can we raise the standard of our questions a bit for next time?
Rod, I'm really sorry. It's just, the people I work with, they affect me.
The Dating Show, brought to you by olderdatingonline.com.